Thank you all for staying with me today as we dive deep into the coming wave. AI, Power, and Our Future by Mustafa Suleyman. And before we begin, a quick shout out. Please like, share, and comment after watching. Your engagement helps this message reach more minds. Imagine a world where the most powerful force shaping humanity isn't politics or capital, but two converging technologies, artificial intelligence and synthetic biology, pushing us into uncharted territory. That is the central warning and invitation of Suleyman's The Coming Wave. In this video, we traverse the book's lessons, its underlying facts, its assumptions, its proposals, and its implications, so you can grasp not just what the wave brings, but how we might ride it, manage it, even contain it. Suleyman begins by introducing what he calls the containment problem. Every wave of transformative technology, from the steam engine to electricity, has been shaped by the lesson that innovation tends to spread, often faster than the institutions meant to manage it. In the case of AI and synthetic biology, we are not dealing with tools that are easy to limit or reverse. These technologies have what he calls 4 amplifying features. Omni-use. They can be applied everywhere, for good or ill. Hyper-evolution. They improve themselves rapidly. Asymmetry. Small actors can wield outsized effects. And autonomy. They can operate with decreasing human supervision. Because of these, the risk is not just misuse but structural shifts in what power means and who holds it. He draws attention to the notion of waves of diffusion. New general-purpose technologies do not arrive slowly. They accelerate, proliferate, become cheaper, easier to use, and diffuse globally. We see this with computing power, with gene editing tools, with lab-on-a-chip manufacturing. As each becomes more accessible, the barrier to participation, whether innovation or malicious use, falls. Suleyman argues that this diffusion is not a bug, but a feature of how technology evolves. Because of that, the speed of deployment will often outpace our capacity to foresee all harms or create governance structures in time. One of the more sobering lessons is how fragile our grand bargain, the implicit contract between citizens and the state, may become. Sovereign states once held monopoly over violence, law, infrastructure, and public goods. But when a handful of actors, corporations, or even individuals can wield synthetic biology or powerful AI, that monopoly fractures. The legitimacy of institutions could be undermined not by war or revolution, but by technological asymmetries. The state may be forced either toward hyper-control, surveillance, micromanagement, or irrelevance in some domains. Suleyman also emphasizes that containment is not elimination. He cautions that trying to suppress innovation altogether leads to stagnation. The world faces grave challenges: climate change, pandemics, resource scarcity, aging populations, and radical innovation in AI and biology may hold key solutions. Yet, he warns, if control is too weak, we invite catastrophe. If control is too strong, we risk turning into dystopian surveillance regimes. The narrow path lies somewhere between chaos and tyranny. He spends considerable time exploring possible institutions of oversight. We need mechanisms akin to licensing, audits, red teaming, external regulators with teeth, and global cooperation across states. Core components include safety research, choke point control, e.g. restricting who can build advanced chips or gene labs, external audits, and incentive redesigns so that firms internalize social risk, not just profit. He insists that critics and skeptics must be engaged. People who warn about risk should be part of system design rather than marginalized. In short, the architecture of control must be plural and resilient. Another deep insight is his discussion of pessimism aversion, the idea that many intelligent people recoil from thinking through bleak or catastrophic futures. He argues that this reluctance to imagine darkness leaves us unprepared. Rational pessimism, he says, is not fatalism but a way to surface hidden risks, to stress test systems, to prepare redundancy, and to build institutions that survive shocks. In this way, many of the second-order challenges, how systems fail under stress, become as important as first-order innovations. Throughout the narrative, Suleyman weaves concrete examples of emerging threats and opportunities. He describes how AI might automate drug discovery, allowing pathogens engineered at low cost, how synthetic biology could rewrite the code of life so that any lab becomes a weapons lab, how digital data could be stored in DNA, turning biology into the next memory medium, how AI agents may operate infrastructure, financial markets, even parts of government. Yet he also shows how these same tools could cure diseases, optimize energy, remove scarcity, and elevate human potential. The duality of promise and peril is never an afterthought. It's the heartbeat of every page. He doesn't assume we'll all agree on values. Much of the challenge is precisely that different societies, political systems, and cultures have divergent ideas about risk, privacy, autonomy, and acceptable control. He argues that long before we speak about technical safety, we must negotiate meta-values. Whose vision of flourishing wins out? That's a political question, not just a technical one. One practical thread he emphasizes is slowing down in key dimensions. He calls for time as a tool, meaning that races to deploy should be tempered by pacing layers, regulatory windows, review periods, controlled rollouts, especially around novelty. For example, new gene editing techniques might be held behind a licensing gate until we better understand off-target effects. Chips for AI accelerators could remain limited to trusted actors for a time, so we don't overshoot unnoticed. He also explores fragility amplifiers, the idea that certain features of our modern systems make them brittle under shock. Globalized supply chains, hyper-connected infrastructure, financial interdependencies, a failure in one domain, e.g. the software controlling water, medical systems, power grids, can cascade. With AI and biology in the mix, those cascades may link previously separate domains. What looked like a biotech issue may cascade into food systems, energy, and governance. Suleyman insists on collective responsibility and distributed containment. This is not about centralizing power in a single authority that invites abuse. Instead, oversight should involve multiple overlapping institutions, academic, civil, governmental, corporate, each with their role, checks and balances, and ability to contest decisions. He envisions decentralized governance architectures and modular institutions that can adapt. By the end, the book is less a manifesto and more a moral and strategic appeal. We stand on the cusp of possibility and peril, and the decisions we make in design, governance, values, regulation will echo for centuries. The wave is coming whether we like it or not. What matters is whether we build the surfboard or get swept. So that's the essence of the coming wave. A portrait of exponential change, of power shifting away from the predictable, and of the challenge of containing forces that may reshape life on Earth. But as alarming as it is, the core is hopeful. We are still in the race. We still have agency. What we build now will define not just this generation, but many to come. Thank you for watching this deep dive. Please like, share, and comment your thoughts or questions. I want to hear what you see as risks, opportunities, and how we might actually build those institutions. Thank you again, and see you in the next video.